Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Prime Minister and honorable members, I rise in this House this morning to present the proactive measures taken by the Ministry of Education to mitigate and minimize the impacts of COVID-19 on our education sector. I also wish to update this House on the effects of TC Herald, damage sustained by our schools and the rehabilitation programs underway. Mr. Speaker, sir, we live in unprecedented times. The coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, has been plaguing the world since December 2019. When reports came in of an unusual cluster of pneumonia cases in Wuhan, China in December 2019, little did we realize the impact of this pandemic. Little did we realize the impact this pandemic would have on the rest of the world. Fiji's first case was announced in March this year. Fear gripped our beloved nation. Fear for our lives, our jobs, our economy, and perhaps the greatest fear of all, the fear for our children. COVID-19 has threatened our vulnerable children in a way never seen before. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the Ministry of Education, we could not afford to become paralyzed with fear. Even before COVID-19 arrived in Fiji, our ministry had started to plan strategically to counter this pandemic. On 20th March, one day after Fiji's first case of COVID-19, we announced the closure of all schools Fiji-wide, bringing the Term 1 school holiday forward from 23rd March to 3rd of April. Schools remain closed for another 2 weeks until 17th April. The term holidays have also been extended until 12th June 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, the health and safety of our children and our teachers was one of the highest priorities of our Fiji First government. These past few months have been difficult for our students, parents and teachers who are filled with uncertainty when it comes to the future. COVID-19 has not spared anyone. Every Fijian has been affected in one way or the other. In the middle of all this chaos, the ministry carefully studied the situation at hand and assessed the potential risks and fears both to our children and our teachers. We considered the immense financial burdens on parents and guardians and the uncertainty surrounding families and their livelihoods. Mr. Speaker, sir, we then made the final decision to keep schools closed so that all children could stay home and stay safe. We knew the same old strategies would not work. We knew we had to adapt, evolve, and think of innovative ways to ensure our children were not deprived of any form of education. One of our new strategies was the supplementary home-based educational support mechanism to ensure students were engaged and continued learning while they were still at home and safe. For the first time ever, Mr. Speaker, sir, our children now can watch and learn on our new educational channel on Walesi. This new channel will be launched on Monday next week and will allow our students to continue learning while at home and also enable parents to be part of their children's education. The curriculum on the channel will not be tested, and when schools reopen, teachers are going to teach the same concepts again. Mr. Speaker, said the current focus of our ministry is parental engagement, and I'd like to thank all our parents and guardians and grandparents for keeping their children engaged and safe. Mr. Speaker, said the following initiatives were undertaken by my ministry. We prepared and uploaded the first round of worksheets on our MEHA website on 31st March for all levels from ECE to secondary schools. As of yesterday, 27th May, a total of 169,161 worksheets have been downloaded from this MEHA website, making it an average of 100 daily, with an average of 100 daily email queries and 250 weekly phone calls we recorded in regards to our worksheets loaded on the website. This indicates, Mr. Speaker, a high level of parental engagement which we have experienced at the ministry in the last 2 months. And of course, this is commendable. Again, I'd like to thank all the parents for their immense support and partnership. It wouldn't have been possible without it. Radio broadcasts for 4 hours per day, 3 hours daily on 2 different stations, totaling 23 hours per week started from 6th of April. As of today, we have aired a total of 66 vernacular lessons, 33 Hindi and 33 Vasavakaviti, and 116 literacy and numeracy lessons through these radio stations. Heads of schools, with their teachers and heads of departments, prepared and manually distributed the second round of worksheets on 5th May. And average data collected from our divisional offices, which includes 9 districts and 4 divisional offices, show a success rate of 92.5%. Parents who manage to access the school facilities and collect these printed worksheets for the children. Currently, our schools continue to use Facebook, email, Viber, and Google Drive to upload such worksheets, which are available to our students and parents. Printed copies were also dispatched and are continued to be dispatched to homes and villages through our Turangani Koros, village reps, school managers, and of course, anyone who comes to assist the ministry. Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the officials from other government ministries who greatly assisted our officers in this initiative. Our one team, Mr. Speaker, that I'd like to put on record that touched my heart was our team from the Northern Division Education Office. 96 households with 80 students in the Soa community that were under lockdown, and 105 households with 108 students in the Wunindangi settlement also received immediate attention in the distribution of worksheets. Mr. Speaker, if I can also share this story with the members here. One moving story is of Josefa, a fisherman of Kia Island whose daughter attends Lebuka Public School. Confronted with the life's daily struggle in the island, he was unable to contact the school, let alone make arrangements for EMS of worksheets to the island. He approached the Lambasa office pleading for assistance as he was financially challenged, and these worksheets were printed and hand-delivered to Josefa for his son at the jetty. There are numerous stories of how our teachers have gone out of the way to assist our children who continue to remain home during this COVID-19 closure, and I must say, it's indeed been an amazing and a commendable effort from our teachers. The Divisional Forestry team assisted our Northern Office, and I'd like to thank them also for working with our team in the Northern Division. Teachers continue to provide psychosocial support through well-wishes, cards, and meals to those at isolation facilities. Again, this was also commended by the Commissioner Northern, including the fact that worksheets were delivered to very remote locations, furthering our quest to reach as many children as possible, no matter where they were. Mr. Speaker, on June 1st, as I mentioned, we will be launching our first free-to-air educational channel 9 on Walesi TV. 80 lessons have been successfully recorded by the team from the Curriculum Advisory Services based at the Ministry of Education headquarters, and we have prepared 500 lessons to continue the process. Currently, a trial version has been airing from the 27th of April for 5 weeks, and my team has been working tirelessly to prepare the content for our local video production. I'd also like to thank the New Zealand government, the Indian government, and UNICEF for assisting us with the available educational resources. A special mention goes to UNICEF for providing us with a cartoon for our ECE Center students titled Mina. Mina, a character who has become a household name from an educational cartoon developed through UNICEF. Even though we have removed that cartoon from our trial version, we continue to receive calls from parents who actually are interested in that version, and hopefully we'll bring it back after next week. My one-day tour of 10 villages in Talebu was a highly emotional affair. We managed to distribute library books and worksheets to our children, and this was followed up in Reki by the Honourable Assistant Minister. The children were not only excited to receive the learning resources, but also showed a willingness to return to school. Of course, the parents, for obvious reasons, also wanted the children to come back to school. From the students, we have also received very positive feedback as to how they are engaged while being at home. Parents are advising us that the children are at home using time wisely, doing their chores, engaging themselves in a number of extracurricular activities, helping their parents, attending to their worksheets, and of course, listening to radio programs, watching our Channel 9 as well. But ladies and gentlemen, this was a testing time for parental engagements as well. And I also received a lot of comments from parents as to how the ministry has been able to actively engage their children during this time. Now that's a long list of adjustments, Mr. Speaker, to our 275,203 children who have made during this extended school closure. And I'm extremely proud of the resilience showed by the younger quota of the population and how well they are doing during one of the most difficult times in our nation's history. COVID-19, Mr. Speaker, has shown us the strength of our fourth pillar of education, parental engagement. And I encourage parents to continue teaching their children values and also help them learn skills that will last them a lifetime. I know it has been a difficult time for our children to continue learning under these extremely stressful situations and informal setups. It has been a challenging time for our parents to access the supplementary activities and academically support their children, especially in rural and maritime schools. The Ministry is continually engaged in finding ways and means to support these children who may be disadvantaged due to geographical isolations. Under no circumstances can we allow any child to be marginalized. We can leave no child behind, and that is the instruction that has been given to the senior management and, of course, teachers at the ground level to ensure that we come up with strategies within our own situations to deal with how we can assist our children. Time and again, Mr. Speaker, the teaching fraternity have come into limelight, mostly for negative. But this time, Mr. Speaker, our teachers have taken the social media by storm for a very good reason, with positive commendations and response. Results for the talent quest organized by the Ministry have been highly promising, where now teachers will be engaged in producing segment for our Walesi channel. Stories of dedicated teachers working from home, sending us interesting online videos and sharing resources with each other on Facebook have been trending, and I have been left speechless by the amazing efforts. I'm impressed to see the level of sacrifice and readiness that our teachers have put this time to serve, of putting service before themselves. Mr. Speaker, while the Ministry was still grappling with COVID-19 and coming to terms with this pandemic and the challenges it brought, we were hard hit by TC Herald. 4 years earlier, 495 schools had a devastated damages by TC Winston, which had cost us a massive $240 million. The amount is yet to go up further as the completion of some schools such as Yadata, Laudala district have been affected. Mr. Speaker, if I can mention this in response to the question that was put forward by the Honourable Geringiran Tambua yesterday, the remoteness of Yadata, Kodoma and Laudala is adding to the delay of the rehabilitation progress and, of course, delaying our efforts in securing a genuine contractor. We've had experiences with contractors abandoning the projects. So the update, Honourable Members, new tender for both Yadata and Kodoma was again awarded in February this year, and the new contractor has mobilized the site in March. Yadata is now almost 40% complete, with Kodoma sitting at 60%. The last load of materials for completion for these two schools left this week, and of course the lead consultant who returned from the project site yesterday has indicated that continuous rainfall is actually affecting these projects. In terms of Laudala, Honourable Members, Laudala is another challenge for us, but now we have a new contractor re-looking at the site because the whole village was devastated by landslide after TC Winston. So those are some of the challenges. The other schools from TC Winston are mostly completed or on the verge of completion, and we hope to see these schools, those are built back to better standards. Mr. Speaker, TC Herald, a Category 4 system, reared its head and took us years back. But the Ministry of Education, the offices and the Construction Implementation Unit of the Ministry of Economy, with other partners, are looking to ensure how we can build back better. Rehabilitation, Mr. Speaker, is in maritime areas can feel like building a sandcastle. Lots of challenges with us rebuilding there. Category 4 TC Herald devastated parts of Western Viti Levu, Kandavu and Southern Lao from 7 to 8 April. 123 schools were affected in Viti Levu, Kandavu, Lomai Viti and Southern Lao. An estimated 11,837 students at all levels are now affected because of the damages sustained by TC Herald. I will refrain from giving minor details, Mr. Speaker, but I can say the Ministry estimates a damage of close to $12 million that has been sustained by the education sector alone, not only in terms of buildings, but damage to teachers' quarters, damage to resources, hostel facilities, and of course the other logistics that goes into rebuilding that. So obviously we will have to plan better, and we are meeting with stakeholders. There are cluster meetings going on with other our bilateral partners who want to come up and assist us in rebuilding. Hopefully I'll be able to update the House in the near sitting. Mr. Speaker, like I said, we'll only be able to return students to school given the extensive damage experienced through coordinated response of all government departments with the generous assistance of donors and other humanitarian agencies. A major focus here, Mr. Speaker, is the WASH support, since we always need to remember what we are currently fighting. We are currently fighting a dual battle. Damages sustained from actually three-way battle. Still rehabilitating TC Winston projects, fighting COVID-19, and now TC Herald damage. So this will definitely need a coordinated effort. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to inform the House that during our investigation into school infrastructure damage, we found that there were cases of weaknesses, especially in construction methodology used by school managements and construction companies in the past. These weaknesses occur over many years, but it just takes one natural disaster to expose poor management and poor construction. In the best interest of our people, the government has been building and continues to build back better facilities. Mr. Speaker, we often get questioned on the time frame of rebuilding. What people do not realize is that Build Back Better concept has been consistently employed, leading to improved construction methodologies and a higher compliance level. We cannot compromise, we must not compromise, and we should not compromise when it comes to quality with such high investments. After assessing the current situation, Mr. Speaker, on education, because of COVID-19 and TC Herald, the decision to reopen schools in a timely manner is one that requires great thought and consideration. As the Honourable Prime Minister said, we will only return to schools when things normalise. In an effort to normalise formal education in Fiji, the decision to reopen schools will be one that will be made in consultation with all our stakeholders, including the Ministry of Health, keeping in mind the safety and well-being of our children and, of course, our teachers. Keeping the current situation and the uncertain future in mind, the decision to reopen schools on the 15th of June will, again, if I can re-emphasize, will be made in consultation with all our partners. Currently, only Year 12 and Year 13 are earmarked to sit for the external examinations, if I can mention currently. All the other levels will sit for either internal or standard national examinations when we return to schools. Some levels may sit for diagnostic literacy and numeracy assessments, but like I said, we will decide that if we have a definite date to reopen our schools. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, our world and our country have evolved phenomenally in the last few months, and it is up to us, fellow Fijians, as to how quickly we as individuals and the nation as a whole are ready to pick up the pieces. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to thank all agencies, all individuals, all NGOs and all officers who have been on the ground trying to assist the government and my ministry in trying to bring back things to normalcy. And with these words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.